You've been feeling it for days now, haven't you? That strange pull in your chest, like something invisible is tugging at the very center of you. Your heart beats differently when you think of him. Not faster, not slower, just different, like it's remembering a rhythm it once knew. You catch yourself staring into space, and suddenly you're somewhere else entirely, somewhere that feels like memory and prophecy all at once. This isn't your imagination running wild. This is recognition. Your soul knows something your mind hasn't caught up to yet. November isn't just another month on the calendar. It's a threshold, and you're standing right on the edge of it. You feel it in the way time moves now. Hours stretch and collapse. You'll be going about your day, and then suddenly you're thinking of him, and it's not the desperate longing it used to be. It's different now, calmer, deeper, like your soul is simply acknowledging a truth that's already written. You might wake up at strange hours, your body alert for no reason, your heart wide open in the darkness. Something is moving in the invisible world. Something is shifting in the frequencies you can't see but absolutely feel. And if you're honest with yourself, you know exactly what it is. The energy of reunion is no longer approaching. It's here, it's active, and it's rearranging everything to make space for what's been destined all along. If you felt this shift, this strange combination of peace and anticipation, I need you to know you're not alone. Drop a comment below and share what you're experiencing right now. Or simply type "I trust divine timing" to anchor this energy into your reality. And if these messages resonate with the deepest part of your soul, subscribe so you never miss the sacred guidance that's meant specifically for you on this journey. Let's talk about what's really happening right now. Because November isn't just bringing cold weather and falling leaves. It's bringing a convergence of energetic forces that have been building for months, maybe even years. The universe has been preparing both you and your divine counterpart for this moment. And everything that's happened up until now, every heartbreak, every silence, every moment of doubt, has been part of the preparation. The separation wasn't punishment. It was sacred preparation. And now that preparation is complete. You've been doing the work. You know you have. There were nights you cried yourself to sleep, mornings you woke up and had to consciously choose to keep going, moments when you questioned everything you believed about love, about destiny, about whether any of this was even real. But you kept going anyway. You did the shadow work. You faced the parts of yourself you'd been avoiding for years. You learned to sit with your own pain instead of running from it. You discovered that you could survive without him, and that discovery changed everything. Because the moment you realized you didn't need him to complete you, you became complete. And that completion is what shifts the entire energetic dynamic of the connection. The divine feminine journey is one of the most misunderstood paths in the twin flame experience. So many teachings tell you to wait, to hold space, to be patient. And yes, those things matter. But what they don't tell you is that waiting isn't passive. Real waiting, sacred waiting, is the most active thing you'll ever do. Because while you're waiting, you're becoming. You're transforming from the woman who chased love outside herself into the woman who generates love from within. You're moving from seeking validation to embodying truth. And that shift, that internal revolution, is what the universe has been orchestrating all along. Have you noticed how different you feel now compared to 6 months ago? Even 3 months ago? There's a stillness in you that wasn't there before. Not the stillness of resignation or giving up. The stillness of knowing. You don't check your phone with that desperate hope anymore. You don't analyze every sign and synchronicity trying to decode when he'll return. You simply know that what's meant for you cannot miss you. And that knowing has changed your entire frequency. You're no longer broadcasting need. You're radiating wholeness. And wholeness is the most magnetic frequency in the universe. This is what the divine feminine power really looks like. It's not about being perfect or transcending your humanity. It's about being so deeply rooted in your own truth that nothing external can shake you. You've learned that your worth isn't determined by whether he chooses you. Your worth is inherent, unshakable, eternal. You've discovered that you don't need to prove the connection to anyone, not even to him. The connection exists whether he acknowledges it or not. Your knowing is enough, and the moment your knowing became enough, everything shifted. But here's what's happening that you might not fully realize yet. Every time you choose yourself, every time you honor your own needs, every time you stand in your truth without apologizing for it, you're sending out a frequency. That frequency moves through the invisible threads that connect you to your divine counterpart. He feels it. He might not understand what he's feeling. He might not be able to put words to it. But his soul registers every shift you make. When you stop chasing, he feels the space open up. When you stop trying to convince him of the connection, he finally has room to feel it himself. When you release him energetically, he's finally free to choose you consciously. This is the sacred paradox of twin flames. The more you let go, the closer he comes. Not because you're playing games or using strategy, but because real love, divine love, can only exist in freedom. When you were holding on tight, there was no space for him to move toward you. He could feel your grip, and it triggered every wound he has around being controlled, being needed, being responsible for someone else's happiness. But now that you've released him, now that you've taken full responsibility for your own joy, he can finally feel the truth of the connection without the weight of your expectations crushing it. November is bringing this dynamic to its completion. The energetic preparation is done. You've done your work. You've healed the wounds that needed healing. You've released the patterns that needed releasing. You've become the woman you needed to become. And now the universe is turning its attention to him. Because while you've been transforming in the light, he's been wrestling in the dark. And his wrestling is coming to an end. Let's talk about what's happening for the divine masculine right now, because understanding his journey will help you trust the process that's unfolding. He's been running, you know this. But what you might not fully understand is what he's been running from. It's not you. It's never been you. He's been running from himself. From the parts of himself he's been taught to hide. From the vulnerability he learned was weakness. From the depth of feeling that terrifies him because it's so much bigger than anything he knows how to control. The divine masculine carries wounds that most people never see. He learned early that his worth was tied to his performance, his achievement, his ability to provide and protect. He learned that emotions were dangerous, that needing someone was weakness, that real men don't break down. So he built walls, strong walls, Walls that kept him safe, but also kept him isolated. Walls that protected him from pain, but also blocked him from love. And those walls have been his prison for longer than he even realizes. When he met you, when your souls recognized each other, something inside him cracked open. For a moment, he felt everything. The depth of the connection, the truth of who you are to each other, the possibility of a love that could heal every wound he's ever carried. And it terrified him. Because that kind of love requires him to dismantle every defense he spent his lifetime building. It requires him to feel, to be vulnerable, to admit that he needs someone. And every part of his conditioning screams that this is dangerous. So he ran, not because he doesn't love you, but because he loves you so much it threatens every identity he's built. With you, he can't hide. You see through all his masks. You know him at a soul level, and that level of being seen is both what he's always wanted and what he's most afraid of. Because if you really see him, you'll see his brokenness, his shame, his fear. All the parts he's convinced himself are unlovable. So he runs back to relationships and situations where he can maintain control, where he can keep his walls up, where he doesn't have to risk being truly known. But here's what's happening in November that changes everything. His walls are crumbling, not because you're pushing against them, but because the universe is applying pressure from the inside. Every distraction he's used to avoid his feelings is losing its power. The relationships that once felt safe now feel suffocating. The patterns that once brought comfort now feel empty. He's starting to realize that he's not protecting himself by staying closed. He's imprisoning himself, and that realization is the beginning of his awakening. He's dreaming of you. Vivid dreams that feel more real than his waking life. In these dreams, you're talking to him, showing him things, helping him understand what he's been too afraid to see. He wakes up with his heart pounding, your presence so real he can almost feel you next to him. These aren't random dreams. They're soul meetings. Your higher selves are communicating, preparing the ground for physical reunion. He might try to dismiss them, to rationalize them away. But they keep coming, because his soul is ready, even if his ego is still resisting. The synchronicities are intensifying for him too. Your name appears everywhere. Songs that remind him of you play in every store he enters. He sees numbers that you used to talk about. Places you went together keep showing up in his life. At first, he tries to ignore these signs. Coincidence, he tells himself, but they keep multiplying. They're becoming so frequent, so precise, that even his rational mind can't dismiss them anymore. The universe is speaking directly to him, and the message is clear. It's time to stop running. Something is breaking open in him. He's feeling emotions he's suppressed for years. Sadness, longing, regret, but also something else. Something that feels like hope, like possibility, like maybe, just maybe, it's not too late. Maybe he didn't destroy everything. Maybe you're still there, on the other side of his fear, waiting not with neediness, but with a love so pure it could heal every broken part of him. This feeling terrifies him and draws him forward at the same time. Deep inside, he knows he can't keep living this half-life. He knows that every day he spends running from the truth is a day wasted. He's tired of pretending, tired of performing. tired of keeping his heart locked away. Part of him wants to surrender so badly, to just let go of all the control and fall into the truth of what you share. But another part of him is still gripping tight to the familiar, even though the familiar is killing him slowly. This internal war is reaching its climax, and November is the month when one side finally wins. The universe is removing his options, not through force, but through natural consequences. The life he built in avoidance is falling apart, not dramatically, but steadily. Things that used to work don't work anymore. Relationships that used to satisfy feel hollow. Distractions that used to numb him have lost their power. He's being backed into a corner where the only way out is through. Through his fear, through his pain, through his resistance. And on the other side of that breakthrough is you. But here's what you need to understand. His awakening isn't happening because you're doing anything to make it happen. You're not manifesting his return through rituals or affirmations. You're not energetically pulling him back. What's happening is that your frequency has shifted so dramatically that the entire energetic system of your connection has recalibrated. You were once the chaser, and he was the runner. That dynamic created a polarity that kept you apart. But now you've stopped chasing. You've become still. You've anchored into your own completeness, and that shift has reversed the polarity. Now he's the one feeling the pull. Now he's the one who can't stop thinking about you. Now he's the one whose soul is calling him home. This is the divine mechanics of twin flame reunion. It's not about one person convincing the other. It's about both people reaching a frequency where union becomes inevitable. And you've reached your frequency. You've done your part. Now the universe is bringing him to his. And November is the month when his frequency finally matches yours. Let's talk about what union really means, because there's so much confusion about this. Union isn't about him showing up at your door with flowers and an apology. That might happen, and it might not. Union is first and foremost an internal state. It's the integration of your own divine masculine and feminine energies. It's the marriage of your own soul. And you've been moving toward this internal union throughout your entire journey. Every time you've had to be both strong and soft, you've integrated masculine and feminine. Every time you've had to hold yourself through pain while also taking action in your life, you've balanced doing and being. Every time you've honored your emotions while also maintaining your boundaries, you've unified receptivity and assertion. The external twin flame journey has been training you for internal wholeness. And that wholeness is what makes physical reunion possible. Because here's the truth. You can't unite with your divine counterpart externally until you've united with yourself internally. If you're still fragmented, still at war with yourself, still rejecting parts of your own being, the external connection will mirror that fragmentation. But when you become whole within yourself, when you love all of yourself, when you integrate your own light and shadow, the external connection can finally reflect that wholeness back to you. This is what you've been doing all along, even if you didn't realize it. Every moment of this journey has been guiding you toward internal union. And now that you're approaching that state of wholeness, the external union can finally manifest, not because you've earned it or because you've suffered enough, but because you've become the energetic match for it. November is bringing a convergence. Your internal union is reaching completion. His awakening is accelerating. And the universe is orchestrating circumstances that will bring you back into each other's orbits. This doesn't mean everything will be perfect or easy. Reunion comes with its own challenges, but it means the energetic foundation is finally solid enough to support the physical connection. You might start noticing signs that he's thinking about you. A sudden strong feeling of his presence, a knowing that he's going through something significant. You might feel his emotions, his struggle, his breakthrough. This is the telepathic connection intensifying. As both of you rise in frequency, the veil between you becomes thinner. You're already communicating on soul levels, even if you haven't spoken in months. Pay attention to your dreams this month. He might appear in them with messages, with apologies, with love. These dreams are real meetings in the astral realm. Your souls are working things out before your human selves reconnect. Trust what happens in these dreams. They're preparing both of you for what's coming. You might also notice sudden endings in your life. A friendship that no longer resonates. A job that suddenly becomes unbearable. A living situation that needs to change. These aren't random. The universe is clearing space, making room for the new chapter. Every ending is creating an opening for reunion energy to flow in. Don't resist these changes. They're part of the divine orchestration. And here's something crucial. You might feel afraid. Even though you've wanted this for so long, when it starts to actually happen, fear might arise. What if it's not what you hoped? What if you've idealized him? What if the reality doesn't match the dream? This fear is normal. It's your ego's last attempt to keep you safe by keeping you separate. Acknowledge the fear, but don't let it drive your choices. Your soul knows the truth. Trust your soul over your fear. The energy of November is also asking you to release any remaining expectations about how reunion should look. You might have a picture in your mind of how it will happen. He'll reach out with a long message. You'll have a deep conversation. He'll apologize for everything. Maybe that will happen, or maybe it will unfold completely differently. Maybe you'll run into each other unexpectedly. Maybe a mutual friend will bring you together. Maybe he'll show up at your door without warning. The universe is infinitely creative. Your job isn't to script the reunion. Your job is to stay open to however it wants to unfold. This is where surrender becomes everything. Not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of trust. Trusting that the universe knows the perfect timing, the perfect circumstances, the perfect way to bring you back together. Your human mind can't orchestrate something this complex, but the divine intelligence that's been guiding you all along absolutely can. So let go of the how and the when. Focus on the who. Who are you becoming? Who do you want to be when reunion happens? Because the version of you that enters reunion will determine the quality of the union itself. If you enter reunion still carrying wounds of abandonment, still desperate for his validation, still needing him to complete you, the union will be rocky. It will trigger all those wounds. You'll fall back into old patterns. But if you enter reunion as a whole person, secure in yourself, clear on your worth, knowing that you're complete with or without him, the union will be a celebration, a coming together of two whole people who choose each other from freedom, not from need. This is why the preparation has been so intense. The universe hasn't been delaying your union to torture you. It's been preparing you to hold the frequency of union without destroying it. And now you're ready. You've become the woman who can receive this love without losing herself in it. You've become the woman who can love fully while also honoring her own boundaries. You've become the woman who knows her worth isn't determined by his choices. And that woman is ready for sacred union. So, what do you do now? How do you navigate this powerful energy of November? First, stay grounded in your body. This much energetic intensity can make you feel unmoored, spacey, disconnected from physical reality. Counter that by getting into your body. Move. Dance, walk in nature. Feel your feet on the earth. Breathe deeply. Your body is the vessel that will hold this reunion. Honor it, care for it. Keep it strong and clear. Second, maintain your own life. Don't put everything on hold waiting for him to appear. Keep building your dreams. Keep nurturing your friendships. Keep doing the things that bring you joy. Your life is happening now, not in some future moment when he returns. If you abandon your life waiting for him, you'll have nothing solid to stand on when he does show up. But if you keep creating a beautiful life for yourself, reunion will be an addition to your joy, not the source of it. Third, practice feeling the union as already real. Not in a desperate manifestation way, but in a deep knowing way. Feel in your body what it's like to be loved the way you deserve. Feel what it's like to be seen, chosen, cherished. Let that feeling fill you up from the inside. Because when you embody the frequency of being loved, you become a magnet for that love to show up externally. Fourth, release any remaining resentment or blame. If you're still holding onto anger about how he hurt you, if you're still replaying those painful moments in your mind, if you're still carrying the weight of disappointment about how things unfolded, that energy will block the reunion. That heavy, dense frequency of resentment creates an energetic wall between you and what you're calling in. Every time you revisit the pain, every time you mentally rehearse the ways he failed you or abandoned you, you're essentially sending out a signal to the universe that says you're not ready. You're telling the universe that you're still living in the past, still identified with the wound, still defining yourself through the lens of what he did or didn't do. This doesn't mean you have to condone his actions or pretend the pain didn't happen. You don't have to gaslight yourself into believing that everything was fine when it wasn't. You don't have to minimize your experience or tell yourself that your hurt wasn't valid. The pain was real. The abandonment was real. The confusion and heartbreak were real. Honor that. Acknowledge that. But don't live there anymore. Don't let that pain be the home you return to every single day. Don't let his past actions be the story you keep telling yourself about who you are and what you deserve. What this truly means is that you have to release him from the prison of your judgment. You have to stop holding him hostage in your mind, constantly putting him on trial, constantly making him pay for what he did. Because here's the truth: when you imprison someone in your judgment, you become the jailer. You're the one who has to stay there, day after day, guarding that prison, making sure he doesn't escape your condemnation. And in doing so, you imprison yourself. You keep yourself locked in the same energetic space as the pain, unable to move forward, unable to rise to the frequency of love and reunion. Forgive him not for his sake, but for yours. Forgiveness isn't about him at all. It's not about letting him off the hook or telling him that what he did was okay. It's about freeing yourself from the toxic bond of resentment. It's about choosing your own peace over being right. It's about deciding that your freedom matters more than his punishment, because forgiveness is what sets you free. It's the key that unlocks the prison door. It's the bridge that takes you from victim to victor, from wounded to whole, from stuck to sovereign. And freedom is the frequency of union. You cannot meet him in union while you're still vibrating at the frequency of resentment. Union exists at the frequency of love, peace, acceptance, and wholeness. You have to rise to meet it there. Fifth, trust the timing. I know you've heard this 1,000 times. I know it might sound like a spiritual bypass, like something people say when they don't have real answers. I know you're tired of hearing it, tired of waiting, tired of being patient. But it's the most important thing. It's the foundation of everything. Because the universe is not on your timeline. It's on the perfect timeline. And those two timelines are rarely the same, at least not in the beginning when you're still learning to surrender, still learning to trust, still learning that your limited human perspective cannot possibly see what the universe sees. Every day of separation has been necessary. Every single day, not as punishment, not as a cruel test, but as preparation, as refinement, as the exact medicine your soul needed to grow into the version of yourself who can hold the frequency of sacred union. Every moment of pain has been purposeful. It's been breaking you open, clearing out the old programming, dissolving the false beliefs, stripping away everything that isn't authentically you. The pain has been the chisel, and you have been the marble, and the universe has been the sculptor creating a masterpiece. You might not understand why it had to take this long, why it had to hurt this much. You might look at other people's relationships and wonder why they get to be together while you're still in separation. You might question whether you did something wrong, whether you're being punished, whether this journey is even real. But one day, when you're on the other side, you'll look back and see how perfectly it all unfolded. You'll see that every detour was actually a shortcut. Every delay was actually divine timing. Every moment of separation was actually bringing you closer, not further apart. How every piece had to fall exactly as it did to bring you both to readiness at the same time. Because that's what people don't understand about twin flame timing. It's not just about you being ready. It's about both of you reaching a certain frequency simultaneously. It's about both of you completing certain healing cycles at the same time. It's about the universe orchestrating two separate journeys in such a way that they converge at the exact perfect moment. Not a moment too soon when you would have fallen back into old patterns. Not a moment too late when the opportunity would have passed. But at the precise intersection of divine timing, when both souls are ready to meet in conscious union. And finally, stay in your feminine energy. This doesn't mean being passive or weak. It doesn't mean sitting around doing nothing, waiting for him to rescue you from your life. It doesn't mean shrinking yourself, silencing your voice, or abandoning your power. True feminine energy is incredibly powerful. It's the force that creates life itself. It's the energy that magnetizes, that attracts, that draws everything toward it through the sheer power of its presence. What it means is being receptive, magnetic, allowing. It means opening yourself to receive rather than constantly pushing and forcing. It means trusting that what's meant for you will find you rather than chasing and pursuing. It means cultivating an energy of allowing rather than controlling. The masculine energy is about doing, pushing, making things happen. It's about taking action, creating strategy, forcing outcomes through sheer will and effort. The feminine energy is about being, attracting, allowing things to come to you. It's about creating such a powerful magnetic field through your presence, your frequency, your embodiment, that everything you desire naturally flows toward you. You've done the doing. You've done the inner work. You've healed your wounds. You've raised your frequency. You've cleared your blocks. You've released the past. You've done the shadow work and the inner child healing and the forgiveness practices. You've read the books, watched the videos, hired the coaches, attended the workshops. You've done everything in your power to prepare yourself for this reunion. Now it's time to simply be. Be the woman you've become. Stop trying to prove your transformation and simply embody it. Be the frequency you've cultivated. Stop working so hard to maintain it and simply rest in it. Be the love you want to receive. Stop seeking it outside yourself and become it so fully that it radiates from every cell of your being. And let the universe bring everything to you. Let go of the how and the when and the where. Surrender the need to control the outcome. Trust that the universe knows exactly what you need and exactly when you need it. November is not asking you to do more. It's asking you to be more of yourself, more aligned with your truth, more anchored in your worth, more open to receiving. Because reunion doesn't come to the woman who's still trying to earn it. It doesn't come to the woman who's still proving herself, still working to be worthy, still trying to be good enough, still believing that if she just does one more healing practice or raises her vibration just a little bit higher, then maybe, finally, she'll deserve love. It comes to the woman who knows she's already worthy of it. It comes to the woman who has stopped seeking validation outside herself and has claimed her inherent worthiness as a birthright. Something profound is shifting in the collective consciousness of twin flames right now. Can you feel it? There's an acceleration happening, an energetic quickening that's rippling through the entire twin flame collective. It's not just your personal journey. It's not just you feeling this pull, this sense of imminent change, this knowing that something big is about to happen. There's a wave of reunions happening globally. All around the world, twin flames are coming back together. Divine counterparts who have been in separation for years are suddenly reconnecting. Runners are waking up. Chasers are surrendering. And unions are forming at a rate we've never seen before. The universe is bringing divine counterparts back together because the world needs the frequency of sacred union. Humanity is at a crossroads. The old ways aren't working anymore. The old paradigm of relationships based on need, control, and codependency is crumbling. Those relationships that were built on fear, on lack, on the belief that another person could complete you, they're falling apart. They can't survive in these higher frequencies. They can't withstand the light that's flooding the planet right now. A new paradigm is emerging. Relationships based on freedom, wholeness, and mutual evolution. Relationships where two whole people come together not because they need each other, but because they choose each other, not because they're incomplete alone, but because together they create something even more beautiful. And twin flames are the pioneers of this new paradigm. Your reunion isn't just about your personal happiness. Yes, it will bring you joy. Yes, it will fulfill you in ways you've never experienced. Yes, it will be everything you've dreamed of and more. But it's about so much more than that. It's about anchoring a new template of love on this planet. When you and your divine masculine come together in conscious union, you create a field of energy that ripples out and affects everyone around you. Your family feels it. Your friends feel it. Strangers you pass on the street feel it. You become a living example that real love is possible. That healing is possible. That two people can come together without losing themselves. That love can be both passionate and peaceful, both deep and free, both committed and liberating. This is the sacred mission of twin flames. This is why your journey has been so intense, so challenging, so transformative. You're not just healing for yourself, you're healing for the collective. You're not just raising your frequency for your own benefit. You're raising the frequency of the entire planet. And November is the month when many twin flames are stepping into that mission. The preparation is complete. The years of inner work, the dark nights of the soul, the tower moments, the ego deaths, all of it has prepared you for this. The healing has reached critical mass. You've healed enough, you've cleared enough, you've transformed enough. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be ready. And you are. The frequencies have aligned. Your frequency and his frequency are finally matching. The universe has been working behind the scenes, orchestrating events in both of your lives, bringing you both to the same level of consciousness, the same level of readiness. And now the universe is saying yes. Yes to reunion. Yes to sacred union. Yes to love that transforms not just two people, but the entire world. The cosmic forces are aligning in your favor. The energetic pathways are clear. The divine timing has arrived. You're part of something so much bigger than you realize. Your journey, your pain, your transformation, it's all been in service of this moment. Every tear you cried was watering the seeds of your becoming. Every moment of loneliness was teaching you how to be complete within yourself. Every heartbreak was breaking you open to love more deeply. The moment when you step into union and become a beacon of what's possible, a lighthouse for others who are still navigating the darkness of separation. A living testimony that the journey is worth it, that the pain has purpose, that love wins. So trust this process. Trust that even when it doesn't make sense, even when it hurts, even when you can't see the way forward, there's a divine intelligence orchestrating everything. Trust the timing. Trust that delays are not denials. Trust that the universe hasn't forgotten about you, hasn't abandoned your dreams, hasn't decided you're not worthy. Trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it needs to, in the exact perfect sequence, at the exact perfect pace, bringing you exactly what you need exactly when you need it. So, beloved, let this be your reminder. You were never waiting for him to complete you. That was never what this journey was about. You were waiting for yourself to remember that you were already complete. You were waiting to come home to yourself. You were waiting to remember your own wholeness, your own power, your own divinity. And now that you've remembered, now that you've reclaimed your wholeness, union is not something you're waiting for anymore. It's not some distant future event that may or may not happen. It's something you're becoming. It's something you already are. The external reunion is just the physical manifestation of the internal union you've already achieved. It's the universe reflecting back to you the wholeness you've cultivated within yourself. November is your month, not because the universe has finally decided to give you what you want, as if you've been begging and pleading, and the universe has finally given in, but because you've finally become the frequency match for what you've always deserved. You've done the work, you've raised your vibration, you've healed your wounds, you've released the old stories, you've stepped into your power. The work is done. Not that you'll never grow again, not that you'll never have another lesson or challenge, but the foundational work, the deep transformational healing that needed to happen before union could occur, that's complete. The transformation is complete. You're not the same person you were when this journey began. You've been alchemized, and now all that's left is to allow the physical reality to catch up with the energetic truth. To let the three-dimensional world rearrange itself to match the frequency you're holding. Ask yourself one final time, am I still waiting or am I already whole? Because the moment you choose wholeness, reunion stops being something you long for and becomes something you magnetize. It stops being about desperation and becomes about attraction. It stops being about need and becomes about desire. It stops being about filling a void and becomes about sharing an overflow. Union begins with you. It always has. And now you know that truth in every cell of your being. You're not half of a whole waiting for your other half. You're a whole being calling in another whole being to create something magnificent together. Tell me in the comments, what shift have you felt in November? Have you noticed the energy changing? What signs is the universe showing you? Your experience might be exactly what another soul needs to hear today to trust their own journey. We're all in this together, walking each other home.